guys. What is there to do in WoW? Let's be honest. The raids are done. PvP's, the same. We're not getting any more gear, do anything like that. So, what can we really do to pass the time until Warlords of Draenor? In this video, I want to give you guys an idea, and it's transmogs. Okay. Transmogging is one of the funnest things, honestly, that you can do. That's very time consuming, and you actually, get a little bit cooler looking character, and you can really do some really cool things with transmogging. So what you should really know about transmogging is the first thing that you need to understand is there's an add-on called Moggit. Okay, MOG space IT. You can download it on your Curse client, and Moggit actually allows you to go through and search through all the gear that you can go get. Any single piece. You can look through weapons, helmets, shoulders. You can make your own sets, preview your sets, and you can actually make sets of gear, sets of transmog gear that you can then go out and farm. Whether it be an old raid content, old dungeon content, whatever it may be, Moggit has all the things that you can go get, and then you can actually make your own set and be like, oh man, my mage would look really cool with this set, or my druid would look really cool if I went and got these shoulders, or this belt from Anixia, or whatever. There's just so many different options that you can use to transmog your gear and really give yourself a little bit more of a personal flavor than just grabbing a tier set or grabbing an old PvP set and saying, oh, I like this. Going through and really spending the time on a good transmog, you can really tell the people who do that. It makes a huge difference. I think it actually looks really cool. And again, it's something that you can do to pass the time until Warlords of Draenor comes out, right? So the first thing that we want to learn about transmog is obviously we want to get our set figured out. So we want to get on Moggit, get that add-on, go through it and just test it and see how it works, add things to your set, and then once you get your set that you want, make sure you're writing down, well, where do I gotta go to farm this? Do I have to, go do Ulduar 10? Do I have to go do, BWD? Where do I have to go to get this certain piece? And then you can go through and you can, if you can't solo the content, which is actually part of the fun, is if you can actually go back and solo the content, it makes it a little bit more challenging. It's something that you can do on your personal time, and it is a nice time-consuming time killer as well. So, like for my mage set, I actually had a couple pieces that I had to go get out of old BC dungeons, okay, and they were only available on heroic mode, and then one was available on normal mode. So I actually had to run some old BC dungeons, 4 or 5 days in a row to try to get some of the pieces that I really wanted for my mage's transmog. It was really fun to do actually, and it took me quite a while. So what you really want to understand is that once you get your list of pieces, you start going through and getting them, and then every week, or every day or every week, depending on if you have to do raids or dungeons, it gives you something to do to log into the game, to keep the game fresh, and really keep moving forward in the game. The biggest thing that I found with transmogging is there's actually tons of websites that you can go and actually show your transmogs. You can look at different other people's transmog sets, and let's say you have to actually go back and do a raid that's a little bit older. Say you have to go do a BWD heroic run for a certain staff or something like that you really want for your transmog. Well, there's a lot of different ways you can do it, but one of the easier ways I've found is either use OpenRaid, the website OpenRaid, or you can go on the forums, or you can just go in trade chat and say, hey, I'm looking to form a group for this. And a lot of times, you'll get a decent response. And remember, a lot of this old content, you don't need a full group to go through. Really, if you can get a tank, a healer, and a couple DPS, you can pretty much clear anything, really, that any previous expansion has to offer. I think we three-manned, what was that, Dragon Soul? We three-manned Dragon Soul. And you can pretty much do that with anything, especially with the gear levels and the damage output that you have currently at the end of Mists of Pandaria. It's pretty insane. So keep that in mind, guys, is that transmogging is really cool, and it's a really fun way to spend some time. Some of the other things that you might need to know about transmogging is the other cool thing that you can do is pick out your mount too. So make sure that when you're going through and you're like, okay, well, I like this set, I like this set, before you start drilling out that set, make sure that you pick a mount that you're like, oh man, I really like this mount too. Because what some people will do is they'll even make a transmog set around mounts as well. So if they have a certain mount that they really, really like for me, the Black Drake. I love the way the Black Drake looks, or the new Iron Sky Reaver that they just put on the store. I got one of those, and I'll tell you what, that really sets off my transmog so nice. That or the Black Drake. You know, the Red Drake, anything, like there's a couple different mounts that really make my transmog set look that much better. But then there's also some old mounts that I've found that I really, really like, and I've actually tried to build sets around those mounts as well. So things like the old North Winds Drake from the last expansion, from Cataclysm, all those Drakes of the North Wind, South Wind, West Wind, all those Drakes. Some of those are pretty cool looking and have some really interesting effects and can look really cool. I've also seen some really neat transmogs that go with some of the Cloud Serpents that you can get. I saw an awesome Warlock one that went really cool with the Black Cloud Serpent. Looked very kind of, you know, dark and dreary, but very badass as well. So there's tons of different stuff you can do with transmogging, and you can have more than one set as well. And this will give you something to do outside of, you know, just raiding or PvPing. It's a nice kind of break from just the monotony of the game sometimes. So the other thing that you can do too is you can do this on your alts. Realistically, you know, if you can find a couple people, there's a lot of people into transmogging. So if you can find a couple people that are like, hey, we're gonna, you know, go do this or go do this and trade, go through there and see if there's any pieces of gear that you're like, oh man, you know, this shoulder piece I really, really like. You know, if I had this with this would look really cool. And you'll end up, you know, going through on your alts and making everybody look really cool on your account, and it's something that can really pass a lot of time between expansions, and then next expansion you have this badass set of gear. Since we all know as we go through the new expansion, you know, there's always that time where you're wearing all this mismatched gear and everything looks weird and everything else. Well, this way, as you get your gear, you still look like that badass. No matter what the stats on your gear say, you still got that badass look to you, and that's really important. It's one of the funner things that I find, especially as a time killer, and you can do it with just a couple of friends. So if you have a couple of friends that, you know, maybe you don't get to play with all the time, maybe you can go through and do some really cool transmog stuff. That's always an option as well. But anyway, guys, I wanted to make this video just to kind of give you one more suggestion on something that you can do going forward in you know, in Missa Pandaria, into Warlords of Draenor, between the big content patches. You know what I mean? It's something that you can do now that everything's calmed down, that most things are on farm, or that we've got the gear sets that we want. This is something else that can really take a lot of your time up, and I really think you'll enjoy it if you do give it a try. But let me know in the comments below, guys, if transmogging is something that you like, if you found any really cool sets, whether it be for any tune, or if, you know, even if you want to link your set, we can take a look at it as well. That's always really cool too, to see some of the cooler pieces that you guys have and some of the interesting stuff there. Or if there's a couple of websites that you know of that have a lot of really cool transmog sample sets for people to look at, let us know as well, because that would be pretty cool to take a look through. Maybe I can find something else for my mage or for my druid or warlock to, you know, really set off their transmog a little bit more. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching. I'm going to try to do a few more videos where we discuss things that you can do until the new stuff comes out, until the new big raid or the new big PvP season drops. What can you do to really pass the time in World of Warcraft and, you know, better ourselves a little bit? I've already covered the gold farming. Now I've got transmogs. I've got another video next week coming that I really think you're going to like. So thanks for watching, guys, and as always, see you in the next one.